Everything going okay up here? Well done, Dagano. See, you're keeping hold of your snazzy suit. You take care of the presents we give you. Not like that, Belial. You know what? I could allow my duplicants access to the roof through these locations. It seems reasonable to me. It doesn't seem like there's any particular reason not to do that way. Have we finished sorting all of this out now? I think we almost have, actually. Just got a little bit to do down here, but then yeah, we will have. Let's get that done. Nice and fast, please and thanks. Oh, we haven't hooked this up properly. Let me get that all the way across. That one needs to be an 8 so that we can start cooling this area down again. They're bringing in quite a lot of heat, which is fantastically good for us. Actually, fantastically good. This place being kept reasonably cool. I don't need 4 of these in sequence. That was so... Ooh, what the dickens happened there? Potential load isn't high enough to cause any issue. Did gases in the pipes perhaps get a bit messed up? Ah, yes. Gases in the pipes are getting a bit messed up. That's a shame. What can we do about that then? I mean, ultimately, if I can't get rid of it, I need to dump it somewhere. I mean, if we can reintroduce the steam, then it's fine too. But if we can't, and it's just going to sit there in the pipes, then we need to vent it. Just going to be the way it is. And we'll vent it out here, I guess. But that's what's happening. There's too much pressure of gas in this area. I guess... I mean, realistically speaking, what we should be seeing is that when this activates, it dumps a lot of the water to pull the pressure down, but... Yeah, we're just going to have to add that in as a safety measure. We need that done relatively quickly. In fact, we need that done as a higher priority than faffing around with the stuff down here. What I could do is temporarily kickstart the process. Nope, that's still wrong. There you go. Just to pull some of this pressure out. The other thing I could do... Now this is an interesting one. The other thing I could do here is while this one is controlling when it shuts down, I could have another OR gate which says, okay, if the temperature is over... I could really set up a quite an expansive little system over here if I wanted to. This one's an OR, I believe. Yeah. All right. All right, I've got a plan. We are going to disconnect this. Hey, it's a cunning plan. You'll like it, Jen. You'll be very, very impressed. Strip this away. I'm going to need this replaced. I like doing things automatically, okay? We're going to have a thermal sensor here. A thermal sensor here. A thermal sensor here. And an atmo sensor here. Now, what we should be seeing is this water should... Oh, no, it's letting the water back in. Why? Green signal if it's below. It's not below. Oh! So I didn't want to switch that over. I didn't want that switched over at all. Okay. Okay, so I've got a couple of things I need to do here. Let's get these sorted. Get this sorted out there. Get that sorted. Let's go, peeps. Need to be on this really rather quickly. That's right. Strip it all back, all the way down. Thank you. Now, I want this AND gate here. Like so. Pop. I'm going to need to strip that away. But otherwise, I want that. This Atmos sensor to be down here. If this is below 20... well, actually, I wanted to also check if it's below 20 over there. If it's below 20, it's green. And I'll allow water in. But up here, I'm going to want it to split off. I'm going to do that in a moment, though. I would actually like this done really quickly now. Because I've just disabled a lot of the logic that is involved in keeping this from doing stupid stuff. Right, let's get that back in. Let's build this on a priority 9. Since the system is live, I need this done now. This is not as simple as just wait until it's finished and then you can do what you want. We need these things sorted right now. Breaking that down isn't as much of a priority, but getting this built is a huge priority. Right, the water is now, or should be, being vented. Good. So we're currently reducing the gas pressure in this area. I am going to still have this as a failsafe, because I can't ever be absolutely certain that I won't need it. But for the time being, this should do okay. Oh, thank you very much for the 35 months, mate. Yes, Aavak has a plan. Indeed, you should be scared. This is a terrifying moment. Right, I want to copy these settings over there. This one needs to be if it's above 120. Thus, the steam engines can turn on. Then I want that done. I want this one stripped away. Please, and indeed, thank you. Actually, no. Cancel the deconstruct there. I want to keep that for a moment. Right. The current gas pressure is below 10,000. I don't want to take anything out of here if it's below 10,000, because below 10,000 means it's not going to be able to sink the heat in this area as well. That's dangerous. That's potentially quite dangerous. Right, if that ever has... if this ever has more than 5 kilos, then we've got way too much water in this system. And this needs to activate. So that'll become a knot. I need both of these to be true. Right, I need this. Copy this setting down here. Now, if the atmosphere in here is below 20,000 grams, then I want it to shut this gate. I don't think we need to introduce more water. Because this will introduce more water, basically. And I'm not sure we need that. This would introduce more water if this was below 20,000 grams. So there is a difference here. I'm actually going to change this one up. I'm going to say... if this is below 15,000, then I want more water brought in. But if it's below 20,000, or rather, if it's a not above 20,000, you can think of it like that. If it's not above 20,000, then I'm okay with more water being brought in. But the moment the pressure in here is above 20,000, then I want to stop. I want to close this. But if the water ever drops below 10,000, then I want to bring more water in. I think that's the way we're going to have to do this. So I actually need this to be somewhere else. This one needs to interact with that. So, thinking about it, let's move these around a bit. This one can live over here then. So that one can be deconstructed. Let's get that out of the way now because I actually do need this to be hooked up. This needs to be built on a 9. It goes all the way down and straight down and hooks up there. This comes across. This comes across. I'm going to want an OR switch. Either of these conditions is true. I want to disable this area. I need that broken down. And then I want this wire to be built up there. And I also want this wire moved across. Okay, you've got your jobs, peeps. Get them done. Now, this may look a bit confusing initially. Don't worry. Once I've finished building it, I'm going to build it as a priority because I just really need this job done. So I'm not going to spend too much time explaining it right now. But once it's complete, I will go over the whys and wherefores of this system. So don't worry about that. As long as this one... let's have a look. If the temperature is above 175, that's fine. Or, if the temperature is above 120 here... and I want that built across there. And I would like this then to be completely deconstructed. There's a 9 as well. Right, this one needs to check if the temperature drops below 130. If it's getting too cool, don't bother continuing to run if the temperature in this room drops below 130. Or if the pressure drops below 10,000 grams. So 10 kilos of gas pressure, it needs to stop sucking out the steam. We need that steam. Now, down here, we're currently dumping all of the water right now, and that's not ideal. We need to get that out the way. Remove that. In fact, we need to remove a lot of this all the way back to here, and hook this up all the way down. These go up like that. Now, effectively, the logic that I want: if the pressure in this room ever drops below 10 kilos of gas pressure, and there isn't already water on the floor, let more water into the system. If the pressure ever drops below 10 kilos, or the temperature drops below 130 Celsius, shut down the steam vents. There's no point in running at that point. It's dangerous if the pressure is too low, and it's wasteful if the temperature is too low. Over here, to activate the steam vent, it either needs to be above 175, in which case we're now reaching a temperature where I'm going to get a good return on these being active, or the temperature has to be above 120 C, and the pressure has to be above 20,000 tunk. So at this point, what will happen is if the pressure in this room gets too high, remember that these can activate at up to 25 kilos of pressure, they can still vent into the room. But if it gets to 20 kilos of pressure, I want to start pulling gas out because it's getting a little bit too high. I don't want it to ever be above 20 if I can avoid it, because that starts eating into my emergency buffer to get rid of steam from the upper rooms. So as long as the temperature is enough that I'll get some energy out, and the gas pressure is above 20 kg, then turn on the vents, even though I'm not going to get the most bang for buck because I don't really care about the temperature anymore. I only care that there is enough temperature for them to turn on. Then do that. Also, shut the gate at that point. So around here, I'm going to need a not signal, because at that point I need for it to stop allowing the water from the steam turbines to re-enter the system. I need it to be flushed out to reduce the overall gas pressure in here. And that is the system that we're going for. Hopefully that made sense. Now I can place that there. This will override the green signal from this, so in either case that should be fine. Green takes precedence over red. The system will, if the system should be active, that will overwrite a signal to deactivate it. So always remember that. If you want something to deactivate as a priority, you have to wire it in such a way that instead of sending a red signal to show that it needs to deactivate, you need to send a green signal to show it needs to be deactivated. Hopefully that all makes sense. Do let me know in chat, though, if you need me to go over anything I just did. Or just laid out, rather. Go ahead and get that as well. Go ahead. There. Unfortunately, we're going to continually be dealing with this because the steam is getting cool enough, I imagine. Yeah, around here, the steam in the pipes, I imagine, is getting so cold that it's freezing, or rather liquefying, condensing, is the correct term, in the pipes and damaging them. Yes, I'm putting in an emergency relief valve. Because right now, this is set up, like, this room gets hot enough that this turns to steam. Now, that's fine. I've got things up here that can deal with that. However, my issue exists in that this is meant to be able to vent that steam. It's pushing the steam down, but I can't dump the steam in here right now. And ideally, I would like the steam in here, because I'm capturing that heat and using that heat to generate more power, so on, so forth, so on, so forth. And out of the steam engines, I get perfectly sterile water, which is actually quite nice. I am also putting in an additional, a plan C emergency solution, in that if this can't vent, then it can just go down this pipe and just dump into the atmosphere. But generally, I don't want to just be dumping super hot gases in just wherever. But that is the emergency plan for when my emergency plan backfires, effectively. That's the way all of that comes together. Honestly, I shouldn't be dumping this either. I should be injecting that in here. So let's get rid of that high pressure gas vent. Deactivate that one, please. What temperature? That's 128 degree. Oh, that's fantastic. I need more of that in my life. My slicksters need it. Send it to the slicksters. Poor slicksters. Right, how is everything doing down here? It's not going well, actually. So why? Why is it not going well? Is this clogged? No. Are there errands to do it? Yes. Yes, there are. Okay. For now, could we get more of this mopped, though? Because I'm noticing there's an issue there. Once this is built, that will solve the problem in its own way. Right, let's have a look at how this is activating. That has now shut this because there's too much pressure in here. We don't want any more gas in this area, so we're shutting that down. Over here, the gas is not below 10,000. What's the temperature? You know what? Technically, right now, I do actually need this steam to be vented, so I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to allow these to be active while it's really, really not doing well enough, but we'll see. You see, unfortunately, the deactivation does have priority. And it has the priority even when the deactivation is due to temperature. I could make a much more complicated system that would only give priority to gas pressure deactivation. But, well, I could do that actually. I wonder. Yes, I could make a much... It's a little bit more complicated, actually. So what's happening here is this deactivated the system because the temperature was too low. Now, because I'm using a memory toggle, it's a set-reset latch, an SR latch. When I'm sending a green signal saying reset it back to turned off, that's taking precedence over me sending a signal to turn it on. Because they're both green signals, and this one has the priority. The reset has the priority in this SR latch. And what I really wanted to have is that if there's a reason for it to be on, for it to turn on, unless that reason, the reason to turn off, is it's under pressure. In that case, don't turn on. No matter what is going on, don't turn on. Because if this place gets too low in pressure, all of the machines in here start to break. That is a much, much bigger problem than me having to vent a little bit of steam somewhere. That is a fantastically big problem, actually. So what I would need to do is I can have this attached to a sensor, which is just detecting that it's above 10,000, and if that's the case, it sends a signal. But if this is below 10,000, then it overrides the signal and shuts it down. I can absolutely do that. I can absolutely do that. Okay. So instead of an OR loop, I want another AND gate, as it happens. And I want this to live over here instead. I'm going to have to wait to pull this down first, but I can do that. So I'm going to want... Basically, I want the NOT of this signal. If this is not true, then I want it to activate the other mark here. So we're going to copy this across. Can I not place it there? Deconstruct that. What have I got there that's getting in the way? This is where there's some obscure code that says, no, you're not allowed to do many of these. Oh, no, never mind. It was just letting me know that something was already there and would interact with it. That's fine. So, this needs to activate if the temperature drops below, like, 140, 130, whatever it is. And, in that particular instance, this no longer has... the pressure in here is above 10k. So basically the NOT of this signal. So let's get rid of that. We want to build in a... It's actually not much of a more complicated system. Now I think it out. Pop that in there. We want an AND gate. Right here. Oh, I love doing things like this. It's a joy. A joy. Down as 9s, please and thank you. But no, I do want that deconstructed. Copy settings across. So, if this is ever below 120C, actually I want this to be 100, let's say 140. So under normal operation, if that drops below 140C, and the room is not below 10 kilos, then this can shut down the power. Actually, no. What I want here, I don't want to care about this. That needs to always take precedence. What I need here is actually the knot of this. Thinking about it. So with that in mind, we can just do that. So, is this above 20 kilos? It is right now. It's 20.8, so it's almost fixed. Then that's sending a green signal. This is changing to a red signal because it's inversing it. So that will come up into the AND gate, so there'll be a red signal here. So even though this wants to turn it off, it's not going to be allowed to because I've got too much pressure in the room and it's specifically trying to vent it. So if the system is active, then it shouldn't mess around with it. The only exception is this. If the pressure, for some reason, is below 10,000, then this should shut down immediately. But in that instance, this would already have turned green, and if the temperature was below that, then it would have shut it down. I think that should be everything we need to make that system work. Right now, that's already in the correct place, but I'm going to move it across there because it'll be nicer. Can anyone see a problem with my logic? There we go. It is now dropped below the requisite pressure. Really? Is this gas pipe overpressured? Oh. Ah. Okay. So if this is above, let's say, 175... Oh, sorry. So that should now be activated. And should indeed be... Oh, no, that hasn't closed the vent for some reason. Why has that vent been allowed? Game? Game. Well, it seems that this does understand that it's being disabled, but it just hasn't shown the graphic. That's fine then. I think at this point the system is now complete. I can't even see the logic to this problem. Okay. Now the system is effectively done. I'll go through the conditions. It all hinges on two AND gates. But the first problem, we'll have a look at this. In the case that over here, we've got, let's say there's 7 kilos of water on the ground. This is going to be sending a green signal. That's going to be inverted to a red signal. This is controlling whether new water is brought into the system. This is looking for two conditions. And only if both of those conditions are true will it work. The first is that the inverse of this being true, which is that there's any water there at all. Well, there's more than 5 kilos of water on the ground. If that's true, then this turns red. So it doesn't want any water to be, or a reasonable amount of water to already be lying there, because this system is meant to add more pressure to the steam in case the steam has gone down. If there's water there, then I just need to heat that water up to turn it into steam. Or that is if there's over 5 kilos. So it could be from 5 to 500 kilos of water per tile along the bottom. So in that event, that will block this from allowing any more in. If this detects that the gas pressure in this room is below 10 kilos, which is where I start thinking, oh, that's dangerously low. It's not going to be able to deal with the heat that this room is generating as efficiently. And this sends a green signal. So if the pressure in here is below 10 kilos, and there's no water, no sizable amount of water on the ground, then more water is brought into the system. I just need to hook that back up. There we go. This one also controls the gas vents themselves. The steam engines themselves. Because when the steam engines are running, they're pulling steam out of the room. condensing it into water, generating energy as a byproduct, or rather, as the main reason for it. But we're not really using it for the energy generation so much as we're using it to cool the room. But if there's too little pressure in here, I don't want these to turn on for any reason. So this little loop here, consider this, input this little red one with the sort of repeat icon on it. If that ever turns green, it shuts down everything above it. So these stop working the moment that turns green. Ooh, you know what? I just noticed something else in the system. Oh, actually, no. That's fine. That's fine. There is no problem. I thought that was hooked up to this cable wire, but there isn't. So this is ultimately the only thing that controls whether these turn on or not. If this ever turns green, these turn off. If this turns green and this is red, they turn on. And they stay on even if this turns back to red until this turns green. This has to be green to change the state of these steam engines to off. And this has to be green to change the state of these steam engines to on. If this toggles green, red, green, red, green, red, it'll just always stay on. If this toggles green, red, green, red, green, red, this will stay off, unless the other one is doing something. The other reason why this might turn off is if the temperature in the room is below 140 degrees, because this is an AND gate. Both of these have to be green for this to be green, and thus send a green signal to shut down the steam engines. This is if the room's temperature is below 140, but the room is also not above 17.5 kilos of pressure, because that's my buffer. I've got a 2.5 kilo buffer, which I consider this is important to have as my emergency kind of vent system. If it's more than, if it's got less buffer than 2.5 kilos worth of kind of wiggle room, then I don't want to add any more pressure into this room. So if this isn't, is above 17.5, then even if this room cools down, because this signal is being reversed, so this will turn green if there's 17.5 kilos or more of pressure in the room. So if there's not, it'll be green because it's inverting it. So if the temperature of the room drops below 140 and we're not in an overpressure situation, it'll shut down the steam engines. But if we do have too much pressure in here, then even if it cools down, it's not going to turn them off, because their purpose is now to get steam out of the room rather than do anything else. So the goal of the steam engines, this circuit, you can think of it in a way, this circuit tells the steam engines what their priority is. And based on that priority, they'll turn on or off. Is their priority to get rid of heat? Is their priority to generate power? Or is their priority to release pressure? If their priority is to release pressure, then they won't turn off because they won't generate much power. Their main goal is now to get the gas out of the room, and it doesn't matter if they're not going to generate much power when they're doing it. If the room is in a low state of pressure, then even if they want to generate power, they're not going to do it, because their priority now is to preserve the pressure in the room, because if this room gets too low pressure, everything in it starts to melt, literally. Then this circuit over here is what's controlling whether it turns on. It'll turn on if it gets a signal above 175C. So if this is getting too hot, it's now going to get dangerous for the room. In fact, I'm going to switch that to 200. That is now the danger level. It'll turn on at 200C, because if I let it get much hotter than that, it'll start melting everything in it. And that's a much higher priority than the pressure in the room. So it'll try to turn that on. Down here, it'll also turn on if the pressure is above 120. The temperature is above 120 and the pressure is in the kind of danger zone, is above 17.5 K. Yes, danger zone. Indeed. Danger zone. If that case is true, then it doesn't matter. Again, it's basically switching its priority from energy generation or heat deletion to pressure release. So it doesn't matter how hot it is. It just needs to be hot enough that they will run, because they won't run below 120. But as long as it's got any temperature above 120 and I've got too much pressure in here, then it'll turn them all on again. And so that's effectively what this is. It's basically dictating, what is your job? Is your job to release pressure? Is your job to preserve pressure? Is your job to delete heat and generate energy as a byproduct? And that's all this circuit does. It just works out, what should your priority be, steam engine? If your priority is to get rid of the pressure, then you should turn on as long as you can work, start sucking the pressure out. Is your priority to preserve pressure? Well, in that case, don't turn on unless the room is literally about to start melting. Don't activate. So on and so forth. Correct me if I'm wrong. In essence, the circuits are don't send cold steam, don't overpressurize, don't underpressurize, and feed the machine. Yes, pretty much. That's how all of this is working now. So there we go. That should now address the wee problem that we encountered moments ago. A little bit of over-engineering, of course, but it's part of the game. If you can't over-engineer in oxygen not included, well, what is your life even at this point? Also add that one in there. Okay. No. Wait. Can't cancel that one. Is this not? Yeah, it should be tungsten. Have we not got enough tungsten? Yes, we do. That one should be tungsten. And that one should be tungsten. There we go. Right. And with that doing its thing, I think this room should be starting to cool down. Yes, it is. Marvellous. All right, we've got a battle to commence.